Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and it's our favorite time of the week. The coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves are on the table in front of me. So let's check them out. All right, first up, our Bestech Swordfish exclusive is back in stock at last with an upgrade over the previous version. Not only is this the new button lock version, but we've now got MagnaCut steel on board this big easy knife. Call it a big easy knife because you've got a 3 3/4 inch blade. It's approaching that 4-inch mark, technically slightly shorter than the liner lock versions of this knife. But you've got that big, long blade length and a very easy to carry, very easy to manipulate package. Doesn't take up a whole lot of room in your pocket when folded up. I mean, check out that nice narrow profile. Tuxedo look on the G10 split handles right there, the white and black, of course. The button lock action is nice and flippy. You can do the wrist flick thing as well, holding the button down to allow you to allow that blade to swing freely as you swing it open or shut. And good feel in the hand too. These are not flat handle scales. There's a little bit of contour, which is nice. You've got a deep carry pocket clip there on the right side. Not reversible. This is a right side only knife, or a right side only clip, I should say. There you go, man. Really good action. Excellent MagnaCut blade. Tough, holds an edge, and is stainless in a way, combination of all three that no other steel can quite match these days, at least when taken in combination right there. And best of all, the price for this high performance, about 120 bucks for either version, whether you go for the satin or the black coated blade. Same price out the door for each. In stock now, check them out. All right, next up, one more exclusive. Also in stock, the RMJ Tactical Unmei fixed blade knife with orange and black G10 handle scales, which is our exclusive pattern. Of course, 4-inch blade, Nitro V steel, very tough stainless stuff, and very cool trailing point design to that nice sharp blade, almost like classic Tonto. Maybe not quite, but it's approaching that. Actually, maybe more Kraken in styling, shall we say. We shall, so I will. Made in the USA, 265 bucks for this. Great for everyday carry, great for concealed self-defense, or just concealed everyday carry for that matter. To that end, the sheath, as you can see right here, made from Kydex, features a backing plate with a J-style hook on the back. Great for carrying something inside the waistband or outside on the belt if you would rather. But this could very easily tuck away inside the waistband there to give you rapid access to that blade. Check it out. It's nice and fast moving, agile, and still useful for just daily utility stuff because this is not an overly thick knife. It's ready to slice and ready to poke when you need it to.
Concealed barbecue knife.
Hey, actually, that'd be a really cool tactical steak knife, actually. We were talking about steak knives, gentleman steak knives in our FAQ video over the weekend. Maybe not a gentlemanly configuration for this, more tactical, but hey, that'd be a cool EDC fixed blade / steak knife. Yeah, do it. All right, next up, another EDC style fixed blade. This one from Viper in MagnaCut steel. This is the Handy. First thing that struck me about this knife when I saw it, well, two things. Love the blade shape. It's about 3.3 inches drop point, great geometry. A little bit on the thicker side for durability, but with that almost full flat grind, it should still be a decent slicer. And this wedge is nice. The second thing I noticed, that is an unconventional shaped handle. This piece of hair come from. Very unconventional shaped handle, but despite that, it is quite comfortable in this saber grip right here. Like where it's missing, quote unquote, handle to my eye, doesn't actually feel like it's missing anything in the hand. The control surfaces are nice. I like being able to pull the tail of the knife around with my pinky thanks to that flat spot right there. It's really cool. Not quite so good in like bushcrafty grips if you were thinking about this for an outdoor folder. This index finger peak right here gets in the way maybe a little bit for some of those grips, but anything where you're not having to move the handle sideways in your hand should be pretty good. Reverse grips, pretty decent. It's maybe a little bit in the way there too, but not too bad. Inverted grip, quite nice. But yeah, this should be a great EDC form factor with MagnaCut steel starting at, what's this, like 158 That's actually a pretty good deal, especially when this is not a super thin MagnaCut either. You've got a little bit of extra strength there because of the thickness. That's with G10. You can get it with this Ultim version, or Ultim handle scales for about $162. You can get micarta with black stonewash blades. Prices top out, it looks like, at about $170 right now for a black blade and Ultim handle. That's also an option. Check out that shape from the spine too. Very, very cool. Sheath on this is set up for easy everyday carry, set up with horizontal cross draw in mind. Well, maybe small at the back, also easily achievable thanks to these two snapping straps right here. Actually, it's quite a robust snap.
Well, like strapping snap.
Strapping young snaps right here, which is good because it's less likely to accidentally come undone when you don't want it to, thanks to the robustness of those snaps right there. That whole pattern will also fit a large tech lock if you'd rather carry it in that kind of manner. Neck knife carry, it's maybe slightly on the heavier side for a neck knife. 3.88 ounces, yeah, getting close to 4 ounces just for the knife. So, could work.
Neck knife for Andre the Giant.
There you go. That would be like a one-finger knife for him. In which case, this is all the wrong shape for a one-finger knife.
You can use it on peanuts.
No more rhymes now. But yeah, it's a cool, cool little blade shape. Cool, robust little EDC drop point. I dig it. Next up, this is pretty cool. This has been getting some buzz lately, and for good reason. This is the Piratech Knives Kraken. Comes in about $300. S90V blade steel, 3 1/4 inches long. Very cool.
Yep.
It's more of a sheep's foot, really, but
nope.
S90V blade, really nicely finished. Crossbar lock with excellent action, it should be said. Ambidextrous, finger safe operation. Nice, just really nice action, actually. But check out the titanium handles here. What is missing? Thomas?
Fasteners.
Yeah, no visible fasteners from the front. It's very clean. Same thing on the back. No fasteners. You don't even see a pivot. That's because these scales are magnetically attached to the handle itself. They're not going to just pop off easily either. Like, they're really on there, but you can take them off if you're intentional about the way you do this. And actually, this is kind of proof of what I'm talking about. It's not just going to come off accidentally. You have to be deliberate in the way you take that off. But there, check that out. Embedded magnets in the titanium right there, attached to the steel liners right there. The nice thing about that is cleaning this should be very easy when you need to get in there. Making adjustments can be really nice, and they're kind of going to stay put, I would think, as well, since they're nice and covered up and little should be making contact with them. Really cool design, really cool features with that. And even if you take that out of the equation, a S90V crossbar locking knife of this type of quality at $300 is not outside the realm of acceptable at all when you throw in the extra features like that magnetic handle scale, those magnetic handle scales. It's pretty cool indeed. All right, now let's go into the real high end of production knives with Koenig. I always debate how to pronounce this name because when I see this name, I'm a Star Trek nerd. Now I'm really going to make people mad. And Walter Koenig from the original series spelled this way, but everyone around here calls it Koenig.
I don't have to pronounce anything.
Sir, if you're out there, please let us know in the comments how you pronounce your name. The mini Arius flipper, we still have a few of these in stock. They are exceptionally well made. Kind of like the flipping version of a Sebenza with, of course, its own design language going on, but that's the level of quality we're talking about right here. And the price does reflect that at about $705 for this knife. The blade is 3 inches long, really nice flared drop point right here with the raised spine there, gives it a really nice identity. M390 steel, hollow ground for the primary grinds here with a stonewash finish and a satin finish for the flats. Very, very sharp, very graceful and distinctive titanium handle, bit of contour, bit of beveling, a very sophisticated shape A lot of work went into creating the model for the milling pattern on this knife. As for the lockup, we've got that frame lock there. It keeps things nice and tight. Ball bearings in the pivot and a couple of opening methods. This is the flipper version, so you got a flipper. And you can also do the reverse flick thing really nicely. Actually, that feels really satisfying, actually. And then, you know, standard thumb open is also an option when you don't want to be quite so flashy. This one has gold accents. We've got a standard version with more silver style accents. Check out the pivot right here. This is a cool little detail for function. It's keyed basically here, so you don't need a second driver to hold the front of the pivot steady when you are adjusting or disassembling it from the backside. Very, very cool. Next knife is from CRKT's premium Italian collaborations. This is the Princeton Wong designed Nucleus, coming in at just under $300 right now, with a MagnaCut blade right here, just over 3 inches long, about 3.2 in fact. And this thing is all about style as far as I'm concerned. It's certainly an excellent steel. It's got excellent locking strength thanks to the frame lock right there, but this is not a heavy-duty working style of knife, despite its materials being what you would want for something like that. This thing is about precision, it's about flair, it's got that great steel, it's got the utility of a very usable blade shape, but check out the compound grind on this as well. You've got 2 flat grinds, a steeper flat grind and a shallower flat grind. Well, actually, how do we describe that? A more acute flat grind and a more obtuse flat grind at the tip section right here. We've got onlays of carbon fiber on the titanium right there. We've got a spiderweb style pivot with blue collar around it with some milling going on that as well, not just a plain ring. We've got a milled pocket clip secured from the inside, so no visible fastener there, and no visible fastener from the opposite side either. You've got inside accessible screws right there, so you'd have to take it apart to take the clip off. But let's check out the action. Take your pick. We've got 3 ways to open it. Let's start with the finger hole. Yeah, the reverse flick works quite nicely. Maybe a little bit softer than the Koenig, but you're definitely paying a premium for that Koenig. Flips quite nicely, and it front flips. Can I front flip it is the question. Yes, I can. All evidence to the contrary. Yeah, sweet little knife. Made in Italy, very high quality, excellent materials. Check it out. Next up, we've got a new version of the Launch 16 from Kershaw. Very high value for an American-made automatic knife. $150 with an M4 blade, which is really well suited to this Tanto profile right here. It's very tough stuff and holds an edge quite well. Not stainless though, but you do have a coating here to keep things a little more protected. And it's just a really cool, aggressive working style of Tanto blade. You can do chisel-y stuff there with the front. You could have a lot of strength if you need to pierce through things regularly. And there's enough strength at the spine for some durability, but enough of a high flat grind there that it's still gonna cut pretty nicely. Handles are fancied up a little bit compared to some other versions. You've got a almost raw finished aluminum right here with rubber insert grips for extra traction. Kind of blends the difference between a tactical knife and a fancier everyday carry. The action is all Launch Auto right there, which is to say it's right up there with all the big dogs in the automatic side opening game these days. Opens up really, really nicely. Rounding things out, we've got a deep carry pocket clip. It is reversible, which is nice because it's very easy to use in the left hand as well. Very, very cool knife. Next up is also kind of a blend from a tactical design, and that's the StrongArm Camp from Gerber. Here it is right here. Pretty cool thing. The standard StrongArm has, for a long time now, been pretty well respected and well used are well regarded in outdoor circles, even though the design definitely leans more tactical. Gerber must have seen that and said, let's make a more dedicated version of the knife for the outdoor user, the camper, the bushcrafter, the hiker, that sort of folk. And this is what they've come up with right here. Comes in about $90. You got a sub 4-inch blade of 420 HC, same thing as the standard StrongArm, but a little bit shorter. and a little more usable for just general purpose. The grind, or the blade is thinner and the grind is higher, so it's gonna slice a heck of a lot better than the standard StrongArm. Maybe not gonna take quite as much of a beating as the standard StrongArm, but the standard StrongArm is still available if that's what you want. And the handle is less symmetrical in style, but more kind of ergonomic, shall we say, even though that's an overused and slightly meaningless term sometimes, but more suited for just general purpose utility. There's no guard at the back, so you can get out onto the spine of the knife with your thumb. It doesn't get in the way. And less of a guard, although there still is a little bit of one on the index finger side. So you have a modicum of protection, but again, makes it easier to use the knife nimbly without it getting in its own way. You do still, however, have a rubberized texture or a rubber overmold to that handle right there. So you've got tackiness when it's wet. You've got protection from the tang of the blade when it's cold, which can be quite nice. And you've got a nice pinch pad here at the front for doing pinch grips and that sort of thing. And that actually interfaces with the sheath, which we'll show later. Protruding tang here at the back. It is a full-length tang. It's not crisp here on the edges, so while you might not be able to scrape a fire steel with it or like scrape out tinder or bark, or if you're doing like burning out the bowl of a spoon or a bowl around the campfire, not gonna be able to do that so easily with that. But it will concentrate your force if you need to bash on it, and if you need to drill with the tip of this knife, it's not gonna tear up the palm of your hands either. Sheath is ambidextrous. It is right here. Goes in either side just as easily. Hard plastic. Retention is not huge. It's decent, but you do have, to make up for that, an extra retention strap here at the top. Here is the dangler style attachment right here. Holds it quite nicely, or at a quite nice level. You can unsnap it when you're ready to take it off, and you've got horizontal attachment options included as well, molded into the back of the sheath. Next, we've got an update of the DPx HEST 6, now available in MagnaCut. A big 6-inch blade, $385 for this one. It is going to carry a bit more of a price premium. And this is made in the USA by White River Knife and Tool, who do fantastic work, and it definitely shows right here. Anyway, 6-inch blade, drop point, high flat grind right there. Not super high, a little bit higher than a standard saber, I would say. And almost full length swedge right there, thumb ramp to push on the back. Again, something that kind of bridges the gap between outdoor and tactical uses right here. Micarta handles feel quite nice. They're nicely finished. We've got a crowned spine all around. So even though it's not necessarily a flush fit, actually it's pretty darn close in some places, especially right here. Maybe it's mimicking a flush fit almost right there. It's not going to raise any hot spots, which is nice. The tank protrudes here at the back as well. You've got striking capability, and you've also got bottle opening capability. It's a multi-tool.
Good to go.
You guys. Speaking of multi-tool, check out the jimping right here. It looks uneven. Well, that's because these are actually engineered to act as wire breakers in a pinch as well. Other cool little detail that I like to see, the fasteners here on each side can either be used with a Torx or flathead driver, which is quite nice. I don't know what size Torx. I don't have something here to test it with, but you can see right there, that's a pretty cool feature. What I'm really liking about it though is despite its 6-inch size and robust handles, it doesn't feel super heavy for its size. I mean, yeah, sure, it's 9 ounces for just the knife, but it's balanced in a way that makes it feel like it's not that much. Like it's agile, it's ready to move with you, not against you, which is cool. Sheath, classic, simple, high quality leather right there. And how about a handmade custom to round things out? How about a Big Chris Nessmuk in MagnaCut steel? Here it is. Hey, I like it. I actually had a Big Chris Nessmuk for a while. I wound up letting it go at one point because it's a cool shape, but it's not like overly Nessmucky. It's maybe a little more elliptical drop point, but it's a very graceful drop point shape. I like it. Thin, high and slicey flat grind right there. The MagnaCut steel, we've already talked about why that's nice. But what has always set apart Big Chris knives for me have been the handles. Full tang, finished by hand, no hot spots, nothing sticking out. We've got a linen micarta handle here, black and OD green layers, and micarta pins as well. There's also epoxy holding these things on. and the spine perfectly flush. The feel in the hand is filling and comfortable, ready to do long hours of work. It's like you're gonna tire out well before this knife ever tires out. It's just phenomenal. And it's just one of many Big Chris knives we have in stock right now. You can check those out. Comes with a Kydex sheath. Will fit a large or a small tech lock, although you will have to bring your own in this case. How about a couple slip joints? We've got a new RoseCraft. This is the Loosahatchie jack with a sub 3-inch D2 blade with that big flared clip point style going on. Comes in about $59 right now. D2 is going to give you a good amount of edge retention for a classic folder like this. We've got red sandalwood handles with stainless bolsters and stainless inlay right there. But the acorn inlay, what do they call that anyway? I don't know. I should know these things. Let's check out the action. Nice half stop, nice and snappy. You got a long pull to open things right there. My fingernail just folded back on itself. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, these RoseCraft slip joints have been very impressive for their quality, and this really does continue and reaffirm that tradition that we have been seeing. Speaking of tradition in the slip joint space, how about a non-slip joint from Case? This is the Smooth Natural Bone American series, now with the Wharncliffe bladed standard sized copper lock knife. Wait, is this standard? Yeah, no. Yeah, this is the standard copper lock. Is it? And we're back. Yes, it is the full-sized copper lock. Apologies, with a Wharncliffe blade. Phew. Glad we have that settled now. Carbon steel blade as well, which is cool. You don't see that as much all the time in the Case lineup, but I always appreciate it. I love their classic carbon steel that they use right here. Even though the formula has been updated in recent years, it's still very, very nice. The bone is nicely executed. Everything's nice and smooth. The American flag oval shield in there, appropriate given that today is Independence Day here in the United States. Nice little potential thing for you to carry after the holiday, because if you're ordering it today, you're not going to have it today. C'est la vie.
There's always Flag Day.
And I can say c'est la vie because the French helped us out during the independence. So there you go. $90 for this knife at this point in time. That Wharncliffe blade going to be very nice for just all around utility. Maybe not quite as versatile as a clip point or a drop point, but super aggressive tip is going to pierce nicely. It's going to work great on long push cuts, especially. A straight edge like this is kind of hard to beat in tasks like that. Next up, new versions of the Kramer series of kitchen knives from Henckels. This is the Santoku version, 7-inch Santoku. This is the Cumulus series. So you've got all the standard blade shapes in this series available, or will be coming available. Some of them are available now in this makeup. First, most strikingly and most obviously, you've got the Damascus blade. This is called, let me make sure I'm getting it right, MC63, which is another name for SG2 core metal right here. So it's Damascus cladding around a core steel, and that SG2 is a powder steel. It's going to bring you super nice and super high performance in the kitchen. And you get the nice chevron Damascus on the outside, looking quite nice. Other details, nice crown spine, very hand-filling grips, even though you don't really hold a kitchen knife like a bushcraft knife. Some people do anyway, and if you are, you're going to have that. Still enables a nice pinch grip, however. White linen micarta, black liners, tapered tang, mosaic pin. I mean, these things are just absolutely gorgeous. The Bob Kramer name when it comes to kitchen knives is revered above almost anything else, and his designs are carried through into a much more attainable price point, even though this is a $440 knife. Way more attainable than the customs, that is for sure. A little bit more Damascus. How about the new version of the Gerard Van Otterloo collaboration with Begg Knives? The Begg Knives Gerard Van Otterloo collaboration, we'll call it, the Diamici. Here you go. You got a 3-inch VG10 core Damascus blade with a nice gentle drop point, high flat grind, full length swedge, which is quite nice. The handles are G10 with inlays of carbon fiber, as well as wood here at the back. I'm not sure what type of wood, but it feels rather nice and looks good too. On the back side, we've got a deep carry pocket clip right there with a ball bearing pinch point, which is always cool to see, and an inset liner lock for security, keeping the blade open when you want it to stay open. And then when you're ready to open it, you got the flipper tab with ball bearings in the pivot, making it very easy to deploy. Just a nice, graceful, everyday carry shape. You can also get it without a Damascus blade. The price on the Damascus right here, we're at about $129, it looks like. And for just a standard VG10 blade without the Damascus cladding, you're looking at about $119 right now for this version. You can also get some of the other versions if you wish, but those aren't new. These are the new ones. So that's what we're showing today. Next up from Begg Knives, we've got another collaboration with not just Jared Van Otterloo, but Rod Olson as well. This is the Microburst, a button lock flipper, a chunky button lock flipper. Check out the thickness of the aluminum handle scales right there. Definitely something that you can get a huge solid grip on, even though for me it is only a 3-finger knife given my slightly larger than average hand size right here. The Wharncliffe style blade is 2¼ inches long with VG10 steel. Thick on the spine, but hollow ground, so the edge and the thickness behind the edge is actually quite thin. You can see the cross section there from the front straight cut on it. Two-tone aluminum for the handles. You've got nice milling patterns going on. It's then finished in black and then sanded on the top surface to give that brushed look, which is pretty cool. And there you've got the button lock right above the pivot right there. Yeah, you can do the flick thing, open and close, but you've also got this nice jimped wheel here on the back for flipper action if you prefer to open it that way. The pocket clip is pretty cool too. It looks almost like it's a single piece milled clip, but it is actually stood off the side with these barrel spacers right here. You do have a ball bearing for the pinch point, and a nice consideration right here. You've actually got a relief cut here on the underside, which means this should offer a little bit more flex than this material might otherwise. So it's going to be a little bit more easy to use rather than being too stiff to actually get in or out of the pocket. Another Rod Olson and Jared Van Otterloo collaboration for the Begg Knife Steelcraft series is the Galaxy right here, coming in at about 89 bucks and some change. You got a 3¼ inch harpoon drop point blade with VG10 steel, a saber height hollow grind going on right here. Very fine edge, very fine tip on this knife as well. The handles are G10, you've got an aluminum backspacer, you've got some really cool pivot and button hardware going on here. It looks almost like gears, which is pretty cool. Gives a little bit of extra traction on those. If you find that lacking in other designs, you've got it here. The action, very good. As you can see, the reverse flick works nice. Standard thumb open works nice too. The G10 itself is contoured ergonomically. It's a little bit crowded for me here at the back, but you do have some space here at the front to kind of choke up on. For me, I find it's working best if I really grip with my last 2 or 3 fingers and kind of leave my index and thumb fingers free, because I don't really want to bear down on this area right here too much, but I am getting a pretty solid hold on it if I hold it in that manner. It's just maybe a little bit less conventional or a little bit less intuitive when you first pick the knife up if you're not ready for that. Same style of folded deep carry pocket clip as we saw on the Diamici right there, with the ball bearing on the tip. Overall, pretty nicely executed. Good materials, good action, and I like the extra details on that hardware as well. It kind of sets it over the top a little bit versus the competitors.
I like how you said the handle was contoured.
It was contoured?
I was wondering what a Joe Flowers handle is.
Contoured G10, there you go. Sure, why not? And last but not least, the titanium versions of the Spyderco Tenacious are here, both with a black or a satin blade. Although the handles have been upgraded with a titanium frame lock, the blade is still the 8CR stainless as the standard version, so you're not getting a huge performance bump or any kind of performance bump over the base models. It's all about the style of the titanium right here. You are going to pay for that titanium though, about $132 for the black version here, a little bit less for the satin bladed version. It does kind of give the knife a whole new personality though. The handles are lighter feeling even than like the lightweight injection molded versions, because those do have full length liners for strength. These are just straight titanium, so it makes it feel just a bit nicer, a bit more nimble. But you still have the same great handle real estate for holding on to. You still have a little bit of a finger guard while also being able to get right behind the sharpened edge with your grip, so you can get under real fine control really easily. It's a neat trick that they pulled off with this design from day one, and I'm glad to see it still in the lineup. 4-position pocket clip, so you can carry it any side. It is a right-hand biased lock, however, with that frame lock. Reverse flick works great. That actually works, well, I'd have to compare it side by side. I want to say it might even work better than the liner lock versions, but it might be about the same, and it might be a little variance on those. I'll have to see. So it's not an answer we're going to have in this video today. Edge geometry on the knife is still good though. Thin enough with a full flat grind, it is going to slice phenomenally well. All right, that's all I've got to show you this week. Make sure to let me know what you thought of the knives down in the comments, and to get your hands on any of them, you know what to do. There's links in the comments, or sorry, in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. Don't forget about our long-running Knife Awards program while you're over there, because the least thing we can do when you buy one of our knives today is give you some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Henderson from the Knife Center, and that is Thomas behind the camera as always, and we're signing off. See you next time.
America.